up, everybody? This is Erwin.
This is JV.
And this is the episode 4, season 2?
I think so, yeah. I think episode 4 is correct.
We are trying something new. We are doing this podcast remotely.
Yeah. It is. So my quality is going to be a little off, so I apologize in advance. But
our quality is going to be different. This is new territory.
Yeah, we just figured this out like not even an hour ago.
Yeah, just thinking about we are busy, primarily myself, doing
because
many other things
because
save up for the wedding on January.
Oh, January, save the date.
It's fucking coming. So we
news,
are
man.
Doing this remotely from our respective homes.
Mm-hmm. Hope I didn't hear any like phone calls. I should buy shit off, so it should be good. So,
good.
Yeah. So you really didn't know what a button up and a button down was, huh?
Honestly, no. I thought it was the same thing. I thought button ups was just a shirt. Button ups and button downs are just long sleeve shirts with buttons.
You're right, and the only difference is like whether or not the collar has a button or not.
Yeah, obviously I didn't know that there is a specific difference. The collar is the button down.
Right. Was it? Fuck, I forgot now.
No, you're right, because button up is just a regular shirt. You're saying that the button...
Yeah, right. Button down.
The collar is the button down. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because you start down. Got it. See? I forget.
But yeah. I mean, what you been up to?
Work. That's it, man. Work. I'm trying to do Inktober because it's October right now. But I'm not really like... I was pretty good like the first 4 days, and then like after that I started like fading. And maybe I got discouraged because I was watching different artists. And I was like, man, these people can produce like hella good stuff. But these people have been like putting in like work for a while, so they know like how to do it. For me, I'm just like, this doodle seems sick. But then, yeah. So advice, if you're trying to like do something like that, it's so hard to compare yourself to other people. So just don't. That's why I haven't really been on social media too. I'm trying to get away from that.
Wait, is Inktober more of like a tattoo thing or what's...
No. So Inktober is for like illustrators, and like the only thing is you're allowed to use only ink. So Art Snacks is a company I like to like follow, which every month they'll send you a box of like 5 art objects, and you're supposed to do something with it. So it could be like a small paintbrush or whatever.
Like physical stuff, not digital.
Right. So they did one with Jake Tapper. Not Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper is
the reporter.
Yeah, not the reporter. I had this dude named Jake. He started Inktober. Like his idea was like from like the 1st to the 31st, he wanted to improve. So basically like that Super Size Me guy, the 30-day thing. So he teamed up with Art Snacks, and so every October they sent out ink supplies, and you just like they give you a sketchbook, different types of inks, some like nibs and ink and different types of whatever, and you just go at it, and then it's pretty sick. Like some of the shit they produce is pretty sick. So yeah, what about you?
Speaking of art, what's mad interesting is that I just came back from Vegas again.
Again?
Yeah, because Rona had a conference to attend to. She was a we call it a guest speaker, which is cool because
really?
She got to present her capstone project from her thesis, her master's program
in Vegas.
It was like it's not like it was not like on the strip, but it was at this hotel that was kind of like 20-30 minutes away, like southeast of downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a conference for her field, and she got to present her capstone project.
Damn.
And what's really interesting is that her professor / mentor, I met him on Saturday night, and we were just talking, and he was, asking me what I do to make for a living. I was like, I'm a graphic designer, and then he goes, yeah, I grew up in New York, and I used to, I was a graffiti artist back in the day. I was like, what the
Oh
fuck?
shit!
And then he would he was saying in the late 70s, right? He's like, yeah, like 71 and like 78. I was like really into it. And then yeah, me and my friend Eric, we would go up, just to get up and graph and throw up on walls and shit. And then in my head, I'm like, don't tell
And
me
you're a
it's
professor?
somebody famous and shit, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I'm like, wait a minute. Do you mean Eric Hayes? It's like, yeah, Hayes. I was like, oh shit.
Oh, nice.
He was talking about that's one of his buddies that he grew up with in middle school, and and he knew Futura 2000.
Oh wow.
um some of those other guys that were getting up on around the time. I was like, what the fuck?
It is a small world.
Dude, I was mad. I was fanboying. I was like, what the hell? You're a professor, you're a PhD in a field not in graph.
Right.
And so yeah, it was just super interesting. And
does he still do work?
What's up?
Does he still do work? Does he still make visuals?
Really just he just was inundated it, and he still has cans, and he was saying yeah, I still have cans. He used to rack cans back in the day. I'm like, oh, I still have cans. I have cans in my house.
That's sick.
It was a really interesting conversation, because I didn't expect it from this middle-aged guy. I thought he was just kind of a professorial type, just kind of
right.
into literature and more science stuff. I was like, oh, you used to graph? You used to get up? Damn.
So that's the thing, though. That's going to be our generation in the future.
Man, it's so weird, right?
Right, because someone doesn't be like, oh, you're a professor, so what else did you do? Yeah, I used to design T-shirts too. Word? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's just I don't know. Maybe it's a show how the generation's going to change. Kind of not everyone just focuses on one path and just goes at it the rest of their life. I mean, there are some who actually had hobbies and a different way of life before pursuing the one they stuck on.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think that when we get to that kind of age, when we have this new generation of kids, or who are teenagers now, or even infants, when we get to our 50s or whatever, are they gonna look at us as lames, or are they gonna look at us oh, you did some really cool things?
No, maybe I think when we're older and let's say someone who is 18 now who gets older, they're gonna kind of look at us and be they're not gonna be surprised. You know what I mean? They're not gonna be oh, you're a I'm waiting for the day I have a doctor who goes oh yeah, I'm gonna go mix at what's that one place in downtown El Dorado tonight, right after. What the fuck? You don't think that's not gonna surprise me in the future. If that happens, I'm not gonna be surprised at all. So I'm just saying I don't think they're gonna call us lame. I think it's just gonna be whatever and normal to them. They're oh, he's just hustling, or he's just doing what he likes to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's. Maybe I'm not bought into it yet, because I'm oh, I don't know yet, because we're in our 30s still. Where I'm we still have a couple more decades,
Mm-hmm.
before we have
until the next generation takes over, right?
Yeah, because I think we're still kind of in this. At least for myself, I'm still in this phase of where I don't feel super old, but I don't feel super young.
Right, right,
I
right.
guess that's like the whole theme of like our 20s and 30s. Like you don't feel old, but you don't, or you feel old, but you don't feel super young.
Right. I mean, this is what the fucking difficult to bleed podcast is about. It's about like that weird middle ground of like I'm not old, but I'm not like hella young either. So the fuck am I? Like we're still trying to figure out like what we can do and still get away with, but like also trying to like keep in line with like shit we should be doing and like shit we should be handling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So like like you're not used to that, right? You're not used to like
Oh hell no.
yeah. So you know, this goes back to like what the topic of this podcast is about. It's about like esports. So like Erwin and I were kind of talking about it, and Erwin was like asking me if like esports is it sustainable as like a career, right, or something like that,
Yeah.
and compared to other sports, and compared to like mainstream sports like baseball, football, etc.
So it's for me at least. I guess I bring up the question is that like when I've been in Vegas last like 2 times in the last 3 weeks, and um, there a couple months ago was our Evo, the fighting game tournament, right?
Weeks,
Weeks? What
months, homie, man. It wasn't until like late July, homie.
was it? July? Okay, let
Yeah,
me
dude.
let me rephrase that. Let me run it back real quick. Okay, so I've been to Vegas like twice in the last 3 weeks, and just to think about the investment into like esports, like in late July there was Evo, and they also built a esports arena inside the Luxor hotel and casino. So I mean, there's obviously an investment into esports in Vegas, like as a legitimate thing.
Right. It's been on for a few years. It's just like when ESPN2 picked it up last year, like you already knew like it was getting like mainstream attraction already. Because like if you compare it like online gaming and viewership, it reaches millions too. Like the viewership like on Twitch and whatever like online streaming services, it made gaming so much closer. And like these like Vegas picked that up. Vegas saw that opportunity, and that's why they've been hosting like Evo for the past like couple of years because they knew like they would one like get in like tourists, and two like Twitch would pull in viewership. And I forgot who owns Twitch. I'm not sure if it's Google or Amazon. I think it's Amazon who owns Twitch. But like they knew like they can grab that, and like people make decent money from Twitch or like from streaming alone. Like if you're if you're someone like high profile like Ninja, like he can kind of pull in almost like 500K a month, and that's a mix from like subscribes, sponsorships, donations, etc., etc. And that's what like crazy. That's like super crazy.
Yeah, this is the thing I was proposing to JV is that like okay, you have people like Ninja, and you have I don't know the whoever is at the top in the perspective esport. Like
Right.
there's Dota, there's League, there's Overwatch, Fortnite, whatever. It's like, well, you have those people, and it's like they make their money through streaming and whatever. But then when you think about like the actual salaries like they're committing, like for example, since I know and very close to like Overwatch, is that in Overwatch League is that every player on the roster makes at least 50K annual salary with
Mm-hmm.
benefits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some folks on those teams that make more than 50K because of skill, like a real kind of like regular sports, like a sports athlete.
Right.
So it's a matter of like for me, it's like, well, is it sustainable at the top end for esports? Is it how long do you think like is this always going to be there? Like we understand that um, salaries in sports is a thing, and every year it gets higher. But when you think about esports, and the viability at the top? Is there going to be the money there forever?
Okay, so two things. Without a doubt, I think esports is going to be like the new thing because it has viewership, it has like a crowd, and it's a lot more accessible to everybody compared to like a professional physical sport, right? The reason why I say this is because like when it comes to like a game like Overwatch or League or something like that, people can get the game. You know what I mean? That's what makes the game so appealable to like gamers is that when they see um gamers like on Twitch or TV or whatever, like they're playing the same game they are, right? It's kind of like different with like physical football, or maybe it's more similar to the kids who play high school football and they're watching NFL footballs, right? And they're probably like, oh yeah, I can relate with that because I do the sport too, right? But it's kind of like so limited because you have to go through so many different hurdles. Like you have to be like conditioned, you have to be fit, you have to like make it on a team. Like you know what I mean? Like there's so many different steps you have to like take to get on there. But with something with like League and like Overwatch and something like that, like you can just buy the game and play it. Like you don't even have to be that great, but you can still connect with somebody, right? Um, and that's like I think that's the appeal too, is that you can be like broke as fuck, you can be poor as fuck or whatever, like not the best condition, you can be, God forbid, like a cancer patient or whatever, or someone who's like stuck at home all day. And you can connect to these people right away because you're still playing the same game they are. And you can actually still play with those people. And like if you're lucky, like you can randomly find like playing Fortnite and like suddenly you'll play with Ninja. You know what I mean? Like that possibility is still there. So that like charm and appeal is like it reaches out. I think it reaches out to more people than it does to physical sports. So if you're gonna ask me like, is this a sustainable business? Maybe not now, but we have been seeing like improvements in the past 5 years.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an improvement to what esports as a whole to get to like to where it's at right now. I think that being on a platform like ESPN helps its credibility. And I think there's like EA has invested. I'm sorry. Like the NBA and the NFL and FIFA have also like invested in their own esports leagues for they've invested in those own esports leagues because they see the financial viability. They see that there's like millions of people watching people stream just playing video games. And I think for an older generation, maybe a generation above us or two generations above us, they don't understand like this is a thing. Like people watch people play video games because to get tips, get better at their playing video games, or they actually enjoy other people being really good at playing video games.
Right, and that's the thing. Like it's so crazy because like I'm not really one for someone who likes watching other people play video games, but it's kind of like the same thing as the way that we watch like physical sports, man. Like people love it, man. Like people love watching other people play, and they love watching other people play sick or dope. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like if you think about it, like in 2017, like the League of Legends World Championship, like people would get up in the United States. People would get up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Like Jeff and like his friends that played League, they woke up that early, drove to Dave and Buster's at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And around the world, that 2017 like championship like gathered 16 million views or 60 million views. Like that's crazy. That's super crazy worldwide. That's super crazy. And like I think it's gonna get there. Like Evo's already grabbing like ESPN, like they're seeing it, and like other like people who are owning some of these teams, some of these like gaming teams. And what's crazy about what's crazy about these gaming teams too is that like their team is like an umbrella for different sports. Like you have like example like Cloud9, right? There's Cloud9 for League of Legends, there's Cloud9 for Fortnite, there's Cloud9 for Overwatch, for example.
Yeah,
so that's what's
like
Right,
crew.
it's a
Like, yeah,
different game.
just
It's a
like
different game and a
diversified.
different crew. Right. And you don't see that with mainstream sports, right? Like you
Right.
will never see like the Arizona Cardinals also be like a hockey team and like a baseball team at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like it's for me that's super nuts, right? And I think this is like this is a future that's still kind of new, but it's gonna get there, man. Like Street Fighter, I think Street Fighter and League of Legends are like the two main ones heading it. Well, now Overwatch too. Like those three games, I think are the three that's gonna like propel the gaming, like um, I guess career. I want to say
Yeah.
because
I think that for Blizzard to have those types of games like Dota, Overwatch, because I mean, like the money that I guess I don't want to say started it because I wasn't like versed into it until or esports, but like StarCraft was the one that kind of like blew up. Like StarCraft was the video game that was
you're
like
right. So when everyone kind of really played, yeah.
that's the one that got into Korea, and that's uh, their moneymaker. That's how they got the whole esports thing kind of going. From my perspective, obviously, I'm not an expert or anything.
Right. No, I'm not either. I'm just kind of going off like what I'm like observing from other people too. But yeah, you're right. I think StarCraft was like one of the very first to like hit that stage. And of course Street Fighter too. Street Fighter since like the beginning, you know.
Yeah.
Like there's always been like Street Fighter tournaments. There's always been fighting game tournaments, even in like I don't want to say underground because it's not really underground, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like at like college areas or
like college campuses, they would have their own like fighting game night with like Marvel vs. Capcom or like Street Fighter.
Right. And Super Smash Melee was another big one too.
Super Smash, yeah.
Melee, specifically Melee was like really, really one of like a big like they started hosting a lot of like crazy tournaments like people from like the US and like Sweden and whatnot, like all over the world people would play Melee too.
Melee
like it's crazy.
Was Melee GameCube?
Melee GameCube's.
GameCube, actually.
Right.
Dude, I forgot. I obviously didn't play it.
It's okay. We're not that like we're not that level of like gamers.
Yeah. Well, like I guess this like should have been a preface, but yeah, we're not level game. Like gamers. We're kind of just like casual gamers.
Right. Okay. Like that's kind of like how we were with like K-pop last.
Yeah.
In our last episode too, we're like. So we're hitting like different perspectives of like
nerd
from
culture,
like like a different nerd culture, but from like a more casual perspective, I guess.
Yeah, and I still bring up like this point of like or this driving question is like, well, when we think about esports, it's like it's a niche that's been thriving, it's been growing, and
it's getting really, there.
Yeah, it's just really interesting to see where the ceiling is. I think there's a lot of potential for the sport. Like for example, the 2024 games, I believe that they were going to include esports as an exhibition sport, not necessarily for competition where you win gold medals, but something that you kind of like see and check out.
You know, to be honest, if Olympics, I wouldn't be surprised if Olympics didn't actually incorporate esports.
So you're saying if the Olympics did include or did not include?
Did not. So I would not be surprised if they did not ever include esports. But I don't think that should be like a negative view of esports. Like I think if anything, esports should start their own Olympics. You know what I mean? Like it should be their own. If like I think if like one day like because I don't think people like were ready to see esports in the Olympics. I don't think that's.
Are you saying there should be like a Red Bull BC one, but for esports?
Right. I think there should be. And whoever's gonna sponsor that shit, you better fucking like take it because you will succeed. I think they will succeed.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is Red Bull. Like,
right. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like it's smart that organizations like that will pick up on it because. Who would know that like Red Bull One would ever fucking come up with like that big ass like B-boy tournament or the other sports they sponsored, right? Like it's crazy to me. It's crazy. Like it's kind of unheard of, but to the niche, it's super popular, right? Like they do e-games. Is Red Bull e-games? I'm not sure. Or not e-games. What's that one sporting event they do? Like when you get like a bunch of skaters and a bunch of like different street stuff. X Games. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, is that Red Bull too?
The X Games? No. Oh shit! Well, hold on. Red Bull does sponsor esports.
But that's smart with them. I think I saw on one of Ninja's streams. Go for it. But I do think that
just to make sure.
For example, like I think Ninja also like did like a product what do you call that? Product sponsor? Product
sponsor.
A Red Bull.
There is actual
and that's smart, man. I mean, we could go on like a whole episode.
It's partial sponsor, but then like a full sponsor or like
it's like Red Bull won like Red Bull League of Legends tournament or something like that, right? Red Bull presents League of Legends tournament 2018 or whatever, right? Not like that though.
Yeah, I think there's I don't know, like Red Bull has made so much money on their sponsorships to like alternative sports or extreme sports, you know, skateboarding and
Sean White,
BMX riding and all that like crazy like extreme outdoor sports. So I mean, for me, it makes sense that Red Bull does stuff like that to get more into the niche.
Dude, who? Are... Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no! It brings it back to like, okay, well, when you think about like Robert Kraft of the Patriots, like he invested a bunch of money into his own, his Madden team or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in my head, I'm like, well, is there like, because there's no like part of the reason why I asked is that there's no transparency about these esports salaries or how much money these cats are really making, because
it's a mix.
To really see it, because I think if the new generation, the younger ones, really want to think about going to something like esports professionally, it'd be nice to really consider like, well, what's the real salary that these people are making? Because I mean, it's hard enough like for YouTube streamers to get that kind of money, right? Like I think that's when our generation started thinking about making YouTube videos. You want to make like the Kev Jumba, the Wong Fu money, but then you're not gonna make that kind of money like if you're not dedicated to it, or
but that's a
you don't.
But that's the thing with those kind of things, because like you have to put in the time for that. Like I think that goes for any occupation, anything you want to succeed in, you need to put in the time. And people like Ninja, like they put in fucking work, or you know what I mean? Like those guys put in work. Yeah. They put in like 23-hour days. You know, they're like kind of like the entrepreneurs of the electronica age kind of thing. You know, like they're putting in work. They're putting in hella work. And like what's crazy about like the esports and the YouTubes and stuff like that, you're only gonna make as much as the work you put in, right? But you can also say that about physical sports too. You're only as good as how much you put in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like with sports, like physical sports, you can see like your kind of probability, right? So like for example, if you put in a lot of work in football, but then you don't get a shot after college, or you don't get a scholarship to a college, you don't get it, or if you do get a scholarship, what are the chances of you getting picked up on a roster, on a draft, in the draft rather? And it's like, okay, what are the chances of you getting cut? And it's like, man, there's like the probability of all that stuff, just to see how much work. Because somebody can be really talented and just be like overlooked because of like the roster's full at that one spot.
Well, that's the point of scouts, right? Like, I mean, that's the same thing with like physical sports too. Like, there's always scouts going around. Like, there's always people looking. Mm-hmm. Like, and I mean, isn't that what kind of like what they did with like the whole the quarterback to Kansas City. I just saw the NFL game yesterday, and I was like, man, that quarterback is fucking sick. They got rid of Alex Smith for that guy.
Good.
But you know what I'm saying? Like that could also apply to esports. But what's crazy about it that there's millions of them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that's the crazy thing is that like with esports, there's so many people, but then it's like which ones are really getting the money that like you would quit your regular job or or the one that you would just like forfeit school for.
right, and like how are you gonna find the LeBron James of like esports, right? You know what I mean? Like the Kobe Bryant and the LeBron James,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
but that's on the one.
Who's making LeBron James money in esports? I mean, I guess Ninja is the highest paid person in esports.
I think he's one of the highest. I mean, how much is like okay? Let's like 450K. I'm just gonna do off like tax times 12. He's making basically 5.4 million a year, right? I mean, obviously, like NFL. Okay, but the only thing compared with like physical sports is that they're established, man. They've been established for like almost like a century, right? When was baseball and like basketball founded on? But you know what I'm talking about? Like they have a reputation, right? And what's crazy, and like a lot of those players back then, like in their beginnings of football, the beginnings of like basketball and baseball, it wasn't that crazy. Like you saw like those like Super Bowl one like videos, right? Like there was
they didn't make that. Yeah, they weren't making money.
Yeah, they weren't making money. They were just playing the fucking play. But it's different now, man. Like our economy is like not bad. Like people can like push like $1 million for like for this shit, man. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting to see like the different streams, or it'd be. Hold on, let me rethink this.
But can I say something real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, okay, so I think maybe like the esports has like a different view on money compared to athletes, because I guess for athletes it's kind of like, well, if you're not going to pay me like $14 million a year, then I kind of want out because I'm putting my body at risk. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to knock on like gamers or anything, but the most you're gonna lose is like the most you're gonna get is like carpal tunnel, like bad eye vision, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, but if anyone's gonna call me out, please call me out on it. But I'm just saying, like that's what I think. Like your two physical harms, and like an athlete has more to risk, right? There's a more risk. Like there's concussions, there's broken bones, there's injury, there's like life altering events that can happen to like a physical athlete that could completely ruin their career, right? Esports is like a little bit different, right? Like again, I said carpal tunnel, bad vision. I don't know. Maybe with too many lights flash on the screen, you might have like the Porygon event and just like everyone starts seizing kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think of like what's the worst could happen other than like online bullying and whatnot. But yeah, like I think that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, it's kind of like doctors in a way too. It's like you get paid that much because there's more at risk. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's more responsibility on you. Like an NFL player's career can like end instantly.
True.
Right. And I think like a few bad losses from like a really good esports player, like it's not that much it's not that bad. So when I see like the money that esports players make, maybe in a way for me, I think it correlates with their risk, and I think that's good. You know what I mean? Like the money they make at the high end, I think that's hella good. Like Ninja's 5.4 million, like theoretically his 5.4 million he makes every year. I think that's good. Like I think, I mean, it's not gonna fucking get him like a house. Okay, maybe it could get him like a house in Miami and like hello cars, but maybe that's not his lifestyle, right? Because if we kind of think about like stereotypical like athletes like lifestyles, it's kind of balling, you know?
Okay.
Like it's hello cars, it's whatnot. I'm just saying like maybe that's like maybe that mindset for like gamers is a little bit more different, you know? Like if I was a rich gamer, I don't think I would like spend hella on cars and mansions and stuff like that. Maybe there's some gamers who are like that. Maybe those are the people who can negotiate their contracts better. But I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure about those. But like usually like most gamers like I've seen, they're pretty chilled out. Like they make money, but they're pretty chilled out. I don't know. Like I guess I haven't seen gamers who wear fucking the Louis Vuitton and Supreme lineup all day, every day kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I could imagine that on an NFL player, but I could never imagine that on like a streamer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, I mean, I think just going back to the salary points. I mean, just because it's early now. I mean, obviously, it's like the ceiling can be so high for esports, um, and I think the popularity. I'm just not sure. Well, I'm not sure personally. Where like if esports is ever going to take over like mainstream sports, like
I
let's say
think it will.
NBA or like NFL, and that's where I'm like, I mean, there could be. It could be like what they're doing now, just like as a supplement for people to consume. But I'm not sure if it's ever going to be like overtaken. Like, do you think, or at least do you think that esports is ever going to uh, like be more watched on TV than like NFL football thing?
Yes, I believe so. Not now, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, but yes, I think so. I am pretty damn sure it will. If the way like the technology is raising, it will. I still think there's still will like I think eventually physical sports will be a niche. Well, maybe okay, maybe not a niche. It's still going to be appreciated because we all still love watching football. You know what I mean? Like I still like watching football. I still like watching sports. But maybe you should interview like kids and see if they like it. See if they still like watching like um like physical sports. I think that's going to dwindle down. Like you're seeing numbers drop right now, right? In NFL and NBA, you're seeing numbers drop, and that's because people are less interested. But like, and I think that's going to go. And like I said, because people can connect to like esports more, I think eventually, maybe like in 5 to 10 years, or in 10 years plus, their popularity will take over physical sport or traditional sports someday. And I think when they get to that point, that's when they'll start thinking about, okay, how are we going to pay people like individual players like Ninja or Stewie 2K compared to like other players on their team? You know what I mean? I think it will get to that point.
But based on what? Like, what are you saying that in 5 to 10 years? Like, is it just because of like the viewership, or are you just saying because the niche will ultimately
The
be the
niche will
main?
eventually become the main. It's been proven, right? Niches will always become the main eventually. Like the popular niches will always become the main. And like, if you think about it, 5 years ago, 5, 10 years ago, we would never say shit like this about esports. It would have never been become a topic. It would have been like something like a bunch of homies to be like, "Oh, did you see that game? Oh yeah, it was pretty sick, huh?" Yeah, and it would have been like it would have ended right there. But like I said, the fact that like celebrities and mainstream companies like Red Bull and ESPN network, like they're picking up on it, you know it's going to head somewhere. It's going somewhere. I'm not sure how long it will last. I think with the esports thing, it's going to last a really long time as long as people keep producing games. Like, that's never going to fucking end. Maybe. I don't think that's ever going to end. And I think esports is a little bit more dynamic than physical sports because if you think about it, physical sports only goes to soccer, hockey, baseball, football, boxing, and
Yeah.
MMA, right? And if you think about it,
Okay.
MMA is still relatively new, too. Like, it's
Yes.
like what, maybe 10, 15, 20 years old?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, MMA is. variant of like boxing. It's just
And
yeah.
boxing is kind of like hitting its like bottom slope, right? No,
Oh, I think in the long game, I think boxing maybe doesn't have that much left. I think
maybe in 50
uh,
years, I'm not even gonna see like boxing as a real thing anymore.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think as a major sport like what we're seeing now with like Mayweather, uh, there's not the same draw. I think as uh, at its peak with Tyson and maybe I don't
Like
know
the
Holyfield.
golden age of boxing, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
gone
this like
already, kind of thing. You know,
oh for sure. It's a different era, and I think the money is in more of the
right?
MMA.
But even then, I think MMA is kind
Uh,
of like not as crazy as it once was. Or do you disagree?
yes, well, because like I think we're with MMA, and we're talking about niche. Is that I don't know. I forget the time or the exact moment, but yeah, MMA was definitely a niche sport, and then it became this thing where you know it was getting on Fox. ESPN was covering it, picking it up. So yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this idea that you know on like Sports Center, like will there be the same highlights of like an esports match that same day up against like a dunk by LeBron? Like
Yeah, that's what you're
it's in my
saying.
head. Like, is that possible? And I'm like, maybe not now. Maybe not
Maybe not
now.
now, but I think so. And I think you're not used to it yet. Like for you, this is still a new concept to you, huh? Because you don't game as much. You
Yeah,
didn't game as much as
yeah.
me. So
No, for
and
sure
so
not.
I think so, man. Like the hype is out there. It's quiet, but it's out there, and it's like there's a lot of people backing it up, and it's worldwide, right? That's the difference is that online games are worldwide compared to like basketball. Sorry, something like American football, right? Like the only like international sports you'll ever see is baseball, basketball, maybe, and soccer. Yeah, those are the only like three sports you'll see worldwide. But online games, that shit's endless, man. That's and it only takes like a programmer and a team to make a good game that can get competitive compared to like these sports that have like hundreds of years of like tradition. So I think so. I think online games and esports are so dynamic that yeah, it's going to overtake traditional sports in the future. I think so. Maybe not now, but definitely in the future.
There's definitely the possibility, right? I think there's a moment. I don't know if it's gonna be 5, 10 years, maybe closer to 10. Is that
10 plus at
yeah, I
least.
think people are younger kids. Maybe our kids are not gonna follow the sports the way that we follow, like physical sports, rather.
Only if we watch it. That's the only way
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
they're
like
gonna follow.
in maybe 10 years, like if I just stop watching, right? If I stop watching one sport, or if I just 10 years, if I stop watching any sports, what will like my kids even want to watch? Like, I don't have kids yet, but still, it's just a matter of like the next gen. And if I'm not invested, what would they be invested? Whatever the kids watch. What if their friends rather whatever their friends are into? So I mean, I think there's going to be that dynamic where people like us who are, or rather gamers who are invested in the esports as a spectator sport, are going to influence whoever is going to like get into like what they want to watch.
Right. I'll
Yeah.
just tell you right now though, kids know how to use YouTube. kids know what they're looking for now. Like they know how to look up these Fortnite videos. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Like I think that's really like a big impact on them already. So now we're gonna start our over under segment or overrated underrated segment. So
Yup.
all right, let's do this.
All right. Esports, overrated, underrated.
Underrated. I think it's underrated for sure. Like in terms of mainstream culture, it's definitely underrated. By you?
Underrated. I think the the possibility is, I think, right at this moment, endless. I think there's a lot of ceiling that the sport of gaming has a lot to offer. I think it's just questionable when the when rather hold on, let me it's questionable of how much money will be, for salaries, like real kind of guaranteed money, for people who really like to game. I think that's my only question, and that's why I bring that question into the episode.
Complex Con. You seen the lineup, by the way? I want to say right now, I think it's hella overrated. Like, I don't know if I still want to go. I mean, it's only year 2. I'm not gonna say Complex Con is whack. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just saying, like, it's hella hype though. Like, there's so much shit that's going on in Complex Con. Like, I'm not saying I'm like salty about my last experience, but I felt like I could have gotten a better experience if I didn't fucking wait in line for like 8 hours.
I'm okay. So I see the lineup for music. I mean, it's not like last year when I was like, oh my god, NERD's performing new shit, and I was fanboying. But
Mm-hmm. But you didn't go. You went to a Black Star concert.
I did. I mean, because as of right now, like Ray Shermer, T Pain, and Future and Vince Staples is not enough for me to go. Like that's just on the strength. Like that, man. That's all right. I don't.
Musically, it's not good for you to go.
Right. I think brand wise, um, I'm gonna say overrated.
The same brands to go, right?
I think, the game's changed, and I think we talked about this on previous episodes.
Previous.
I would have to actually.
It's an ongoing thing
to kind of like take it in and see what these other brands are doing, just to see what they're about, see what kind of like stuff they're on, because I think I need more context. I think it's different.
Why don't we go? Why don't we go?
Dude, like, it's like right before the election. I have like shit to do.
Oh, I was about to say, if it wasn't before the election, would you be like, if I said like, let's go and just like observe, we'll see panels, not shop, but if we went and like just observe.
I think I'd be down for that. Just to observe.
Yeah. And my nephew did that. Fuck, man. I'm still salty about like the fact that I was like in line, but
good,
that's one thing I regret.
It's you just had to commit, and so I totally understand. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
you
not
committed 4 hours.
They're gonna put that merch up online. So
fuck that, man. Okay, yeah. Before I get mad, but yeah.
So I mean, like, yeah, I think there's some cool brands that I'm curious about. But yeah, overrated right now. I don't think it's necessary.
The street scene's changed.
The streets, the streetwear scene has changed. So I just want to see it in a context of like other things. You're saying rated? Is that what you said?
Overrated.
All right. So the last overrated, underrated, Vegas. I'm gonna say overrated rather. I just on the drive back yesterday, me and Rona were just talking about how we're getting kind of tired of the things we do in Vegas, so we kind of need like other things to check out because I don't know, this trip's getting boring. So it's overrated.
What the fuck does that mean? Like, oh, what are you expecting from Vegas? Like, are you watching shows? Are you like eating? Are you gambling? Are you
It's
watching?
just like, I guess like experiential, like
Like, we're not
checking out new
clubbing.
places because we've gone I think three times this year, and that's just
God
kind of
damn.
like the new norm for me at least because my parents
Why?
moved to Vegas.
Okay, I was about to say, like, why do you go to Vegas so many
That's what I'm
times?
saying. It's like the new norm. Like if I see my parents, just go, oh, let's go to Vegas this weekend or whatever. I go for like Thanksgiving as a given, so it's like, well, what else
Hey,
is there
that's
to
all
do
fair.
besides hanging out at home? You know.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Vegas is like a vacation thing, though. It's not like a plan. You know what I mean? Like, no one decides to go on Vegas unless it's for work or for pleasure. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like that's what I could never imagine me going to Vegas now. I'd be like, I'll go to Vegas if something's happening. Like if my parents want to be like, oh, we're gonna go over there, or oh, like my family wants to do something in Vegas. That's probably like the only time I actually want to go to Vegas. But if you like, or I would have to go for like a work conference or something. That's the only reason why I could imagine myself going to Vegas. But do I think it's overrated or underrated? I think it's overrated in a sense that like it's no longer Sin City. I don't know, like that whole thing like about Vegas being like Sin City. This is where all this shit can happen. That's overrated to me. Like I don't fucking believe in that anymore. For me, that's not Vegas. Like if you're like a gambler and if like you like seeing shows and you like traveling, I think it's cool. Like that's what Vegas is, right? That's its reputation. In terms of like the party scene, I think it's overrated.
Okay.
But I think as like even as a travel destination, I think it's overrated too. I think there are other places you can go like and enjoy more than Vegas. So yeah, I'm gonna say underrated or overrated. Overrated. All right.
Wrap up,
Man. All right, that was like I didn't think we would actually talk about esports that much. I thought it was gonna be pretty cut and dry. To be honest.
I honestly, like, I think when you're talking about esports, just to summarize things for everyone out there, talking about esports, how much potential it has, and the power of like the internet now with so many like streamers, and even in the organized sports. I mean, there's obviously a lot of potential for the entire genre, or even not the genre, but the sport itself. And even though I doubt some of the things at the top end, and there's salaries and stuff like that, just the numbers of it. I mean, I think there's a viability in, and at least if your kid gets into esports, at least let them dabble into it so that they like, if they're really good at it, then that they could make it into like a real profession, or if they don't, then it's just a decent hobby. It's something that they like to do.
Right, and who knows? Like you're like they could either make like millions and millions of dollars a year, or they can make like a decent salary that like normal people who work at like a 9 to 5 can make. You know what I mean? Like it's
true.
Yeah, so it's just I think it should be an option. I don't think it's something it should ever be like dismissed at all.
Mm-hmm.
At least not now, or in the future, that shouldn't be the case.
True.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.